So it is the new financial year, which means some of you will be looking for a brand new cash ISA for your savings. I'm going to take you through the top paying ones right now as we record this. Now, these things do change all the time, particularly right now at the start of a financial year. So make sure to get more options and any changes that might come along that you head to becleverwithyourcash.com/ISAs. You will see more and more and more, and all those updates there. Myself and the team are updating it twice a day. So let's start off with easy access cash ISAs. Now, these ones are obviously pretty good if you think you're going to need to get hold of your savings and use your savings as the year goes on. And there are some really, really attractive rates out there, at least at first sight. So I'm going to talk first of all about the best paying easy access ISAs with bonuses. And a number of these have short 3-month bonuses that really, really whack the rate up to nearly 6%. So we have right at the top of the table, Plum, 5.92%. This has a 3-month bonus rate, which is quite hefty, 2.38%, which means after that, it drops down to an underlying rate of 3.54%. Now, if you imagine this over a year, I know this isn't going to be an exact science because these are variable rates, so they can change anyway throughout a year. But if it was to remain relatively steady, that actually gives you an effective rate of 4.14%. The next highest paying one is Chip at 5.9%. I should add these new rates, these bonuses are for new customers. If you've already got an ISA with them or had one in the past, you won't be able to get this top paying rate. But 5.9%. Underneath that, there is, after the bonus, a rate of 4.32%, which gives you an equivalent effective rate of 4.72%. Then you have CMC Invest. That gives you 5.7%. The bonus is much smaller there, though. Actually, the underlying rate is a pretty decent 4.85%. This is the first one where the effective rate is above 5%. It's 5.06%. Then you've got a limited access account from Moneybox, 5.67% as the headline rate. After the bonus, drops down to 4.25%, giving you an effective rate of 4.61. And then we have Trading 212, 5.6%. I'm surprised this one hasn't actually responded to those other increases that last Friday meant it wasn't at the top of the table. It may well still do that. It might happy to stay where it is. 5.6% with a 1.1% 3-month bonus, giving an underlying rate of 4.5%, means it's actually, out of these ones we're talking about right now, the second highest effective rate at 4.78%. So they are the ones, if you're brand new, you want the best possible rate you can out there, you're happy to get this 3-month bonus just for a short period of time, then go for it. They're the options there. And I would actually say out of those, really, is obviously CMC Invest, Trading 212 and Chip, which really are going to have the rates which are much more competitive. However, if you don't like the idea of moving your money after 3 months, or you're a bit annoyed about having this 3-month bonus, there are some other options out there that you could have a look at. Now, the top one here, so I'm looking at the rates after the bonus or without the bonus. You're either not eligible for it or just, okay, what's good? Give me a decent rate anyway going onwards. So that CMC Invest ISA that we just mentioned, that cash ISA, that one, 4.85% at the moment, means that it is the top of those other rates. In fact, obviously, if you're new to it, you'll get the bonus as well. But if not, you're still getting a pretty competitive rate there. After that, we've got Tembo at 4.8%. Then we have Monument at 4.76%, although Monument has quite a hefty initial balance you need there, so a lot of people won't be able to get that one. And then we have Moneybox, which is a different ISA from them. This is one which is more open access rather than limited access, 4.57. Now, that does include a bonus for 12 months, that 4.57 rate, but I think a year's bonus is actually pretty fair to talk about it when we're in these things because, yes, of course, you can look at these rates at any time. It's good to look at them every now and again to make sure if you've got a variable rate, it hasn't dropped massively, or there isn't a brand new option out there which might get you more. But if you're thinking, I don't want to move my money around too much, a 12-month bonus, I think, is fine to include. So they're your top ones there. Now, for most of you, choosing between one of those with or without a bonus is going to be fine. But there are a couple of other considerations I would suggest you do think about before you open them up. The first one is it flexible? Now, most people probably don't need a flexible ISA. This is about if you put money into the ISA in a financial year and take it out again in that same financial year, then if it's not flexible, you can't put that money back in. You know, you still got that £20,000 limit, £1,000 limit for the year, but you can't sort of take out, put in. If it takes you cumulatively, would take you above that 20k. But a flexible one would mean if you took, let's say, £5,000 out and then put that £5,000 back in the same year, it would be net on that allowance. You wouldn't have put in 10,000, you've only put in 5,000 for the year. So certainly one to think about. Now, there are a few from the list and a few extras. So CMC Invest that I've mentioned just now, that is flexible. Monument is flexible. Trading 212 is flexible. And another one for you to think about here is Paragon, also flexible at 4.5%. And of course, ISAs aren't only about new money. You might want to be transferring cash from existing ISAs to get a better rate. And again, not all ISAs will let you do this. Now, the top ones that do let you do this from the ones we've looked at so far include CHIP, CMC Invest, and Trading 212. So we've already talked about those ones, the rates you get as a new customer and not as a new customer. Notable ones that aren't there are Plum, because if you transfer in, you get a much lower rate, and Tembo and Monument, because they don't allow transfers in. A couple of other options if you don't fancy those. We've got Kent Reliance and we've got Charter Savings Bank, 4.56 and 4.55% respectively. So if you're transferring in, they are certainly the ones to be looking at. In fact, those latter two have got higher underlying rates than you're going to get with CHIP and Trading 212 after that bonus goes along. CMC Invest though, 4.85 underlying, that allows transfers in, that is still the highest paying option for you right now. So these great paying ISAs are all well and good if you're happy to open them via the online website or an app. And I know that many of you don't want to do that. You just want to open it up by post, by phone, or in person. Unfortunately, in most cases, you will be looking at a lower rate. But I've got a handful that I'm going to share with you that will pay a little bit better than the others if you're going to go down that route. Now, there will be others that I don't mention just now, local building societies that can only do it in person. So it's definitely worth seeing if you've got some near you, we might pay more than this and actually go into the branch to do it. But in terms of doing it by in person or by post, you can do Buckinghamshire Building Society, 4.53%. Furnace Building Society, 4.4%. Family Building Society, 4.37%. They all do post, in person and online. If you want to phone, then the top one here is Skipton Building Society, 4.35%. That one also can be done in post or in person or online. Okay, let's look at fixed rate ISAs now. These are great if you want to lock in an interest rate for a set amount of time, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, or even 5 years. There are 18-month fixes, but I'm not including them right now. Same with the 4-year fixes. I'm not going to mention them either, simply because the rates are lower than the rates around them, the fixes either side of that. If you do want to see some of those options, and they are listed along with more fixed rates on the other lemps over at becleverwithyourcash.com/ISAs. Now, something you do want to think about when it comes to a fixed rate ISA is when the interest is accessible. Now, some of you might be fine, I'm going to put it aside, I don't need it just yet, and I'll get it all when it matures, unless it compounds, and that'll give me the most amount of interest. Some of you might be wanting it, particularly if you're retired, thinking about it as income. So you want the interest to come through monthly, quarterly, or even annually, so you can get it and access it. Obviously, you'd be taking it then out of the ISA, potentially paying it away. This is called paid away, and then you can spend it. So there are pros and cons of doing that. But I'll take you through whether the different accounts allow that as well. Now, you can get 1 18-month, 2-year, 3-year, 4-year, and 5-year fixes. I'm not going to tell you about the 18-month and 4-year fixes here, so the rates are simply lower than you're going to get on the fixes, the terms which are surrounding it. So I think you're better off with that. But I do have lists of those over at becleverwithyourcash.com/ISAs. So let's look at the top 1 year paying fixed ISAs first of all. UBL 4.53%. This one, interest is paid at maturity, so the end of that first year. You can open this one online and in other ways as well. Gatehouse Bank next, 4.5%. That one you can get the ISA interest paid monthly or annually. That one is not available for non-online, only online applications only. And then we have Vanquist 4.42%. That one, the interest is all paid at maturity at the end. And that one, again, it's only online applications. All of those will allow transfers in. 2-year fixes, top of the rate here, we have Chetwood Bank via Hargreaves Lansdown, 4.46%. That one does not allow transfers in. The interest is all paid at maturity, so the end of the 2 years. Again, this is online only. For applications, Vanquist 4.35% allows transfers in. The interest can be paid monthly, annually, or maturity at the end of those 2 years. Again, online only for applications. And then we've got UBL 4.26%. This one does allow transfers in, again, monthly, annually, or at maturity to get the interest payments. And you can open this both online and also by post. So you've got the extra option if you don't want to go online there. For a 3-year fixed ISA, some of the same names popping up again, UBL 4.34%. allows transfers in monthly, quarterly, annually, or at maturity for that interest to be paid. So you can access it throughout the year, all 3 years if you want to. Again, this one is online applications, and this one also does allow you to open it up elsewhere as well. By post. Then we've got a couple of building societies. Building societies are always really good for fixed ISAs. Darlington Building Society at 4.3% allows transfers in. It's yearly or at maturity for interest, and you can open that by the post or online. And Nottingham Building Society 4.25% also allows transfers in, but the interest is all paid at maturity at the end of the 3 years. And finally, we've got the 5-year fixes. Top one here, Castle Trust 4.31% allows transfers in, interest is paid at maturity. Leek Building Society, 4.3% allows transfers in, interest is paid yearly or at maturity. This one does allow you to make applications both online and by post. And then there's UBL, 4.3% allows transfers in, interest is only paid annually for this one. And it is also both online or by post if you want to apply for it. Remember, head to becleverwithyourcash.com/ISAs for more rates and all the updates on this. These will change, but these are the top paying ISAs for you for the financial year 2025-2026. My name's Andy Webb. Thank you so much for watching. Check out these videos here for more ways to make the most of your money.